Accucare Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine in Brick, New Jersey offers a state-of-the-art facility with all the best and current treatments. With athletic trainers, massage therapists, and doctors of physical therapy, Accucare has everything you need to stay healthy and perform at the highest level. Cupping, stretching, laser therapy, compression boots, and a full-body cryo chamber are just some of what you can expect at Accucare. Check out their website and social media links in my bio. No prescription is needed to see them. So call them today and start feeling and performing at your best. Again, thank you to Accucare for sponsoring the Shore Football Report. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Accucare High School Football Preview Show, Monmouth County edition, presented by the Shore Football Report. Today, we will talk Manasquan football with head football coach Jay Price, the 12th year veteran at Manasquan. Coach, thank you very much for coming on the show.
No, thanks for having us.
Awesome. Coach, before we get into you, we have a lot to talk about you and your program. I don't know if you realize this. We have now a sponsor for the Shore Football Report, Accucare and Brick. It's probably right around the corner from you guys. And they are fantastic. Pam Anthony, the founder and owner of the physical therapy place right there, she's awesome. She's got a great vision of what she wants to provide for student athletes in the Shore Conference. Real important. Now, you know as well as I do that you need your athletes healthy for the season, right?
Absolutely.
Nothing worse than preparing your game plan and hearing Jameer Howard's hamstring's a little sore. What do I do? Because us coaches were like, I don't know, right? And sometimes our trainers ain't around or whatever, but there are people out there like Accucare who does preventive rehabilitation. She strengthens the bodies and she makes sure that they're going to excel on and off the field. You know that's important, right?
Absolutely. And nothing's more important. I think you said before that she's a fan of the game. It's great when your healthcare providers actually take an interest in the athletes they're treating.
She'll be watching this show tomorrow. I guarantee you. She'll be, getting somebody ready and watching. Like, what are they saying? This and that. Big fan. Always comments. Great comments on every show we do. And she's a fan of the Shore Football Report and a fan of every program in the Shore Conference. So that's good to have a friend of our programs out there. Somebody
Absolutely.
to their stature. Yep. Coach, let's talk about you now, man. 12th year. Like, I've known you for a long time, and it's like, wow, you've been there 12 years now. Wow.
I remember when you were coaching at Lacey. I mean, it seems like decades ago.
That's even longer, Coach. That's 25 years ago or something like that. That's really a long time. But, yeah, wow, 12th year at Manasquan. I mean, you got it going. You really do. You have a really good – I know you – and I told the players, I talked to the players earlier that, tradition never graduates. It doesn't. And you guys know that as well as anybody. Yes, you graduated some good players, but you also have some good players back, too. You do.
Sure.
So players that you're very excited about, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about those guys, right? Coach,
Absolutely.
Tell me briefly your story on how you became the head football coach. I always find it very interesting, and
Well, I was gonna say it's good you do because it's pretty boring. I played football at Manasquan. I played under Coach Kaboo. who put together a great staff back then. He had a bunch of head coaches with him. It was him, Jack Hawkins, who was another Manasquan head coach. Coach Donnie Reed came in from Brick Memorial. Pete Cahill was on that staff, who's still coaching with us today. And then a couple of guys, Eric Scheit and Bob Lempa, who had coached under um, Hawkins before him and Chapman before him. And I graduated from there, and I enlisted in the Navy. I went to the Naval Academy's prep school. I played under a guy named Mike Drake, um, and Elliot Uzelak, who coached in Annapolis. Math and I didn't agree very much with each other, so I wound up at Trenton State College. I played under Eric Hamilton when I was there, who was a great coach.
Yeah.
And then I did a year at Pompton Lakes, coaching under a great coach up there named Gary Luciani. And then I found my way back home in '95 and coached under Coach Kaboo and Pete Cahill since.
Coach, I have a question. How was it playing, being around Vic Cabot? Like, how has it helped you become a football coach in the program that he ran for many, many years?
You know what? Outside of my dad, he was probably the single greatest man who shaped any part of my life, other than a gunnery sergeant at the prep school. But it, I'll steal a line from Pete Cahill and even my daughter. They sing this song from Hamilton called "In the Room Where It Happened," and being lucky enough to be in the room when those teams happened, you just took lessons away from everything from football to the stock market to teaching, and really how to deal with your players. It was all about love, really. A lot of it was tough love. Sunday mornings and meetings with
Hmm.
him were tough.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
but you got your fair share of pats on the back and kicks in the butt, but it was always fair. And it was always about letting the people that you played with and coach know you love them, you cared about them, and that we get through the good times and the bad just as easily. But that was all a conduit into teaching, and not just teaching football, but teaching the bigger lessons that come with it as well.
Coach, my first year starting my program, I look at my schedule and we're playing Manasquan. And I looked at my AD. I go, "Are you kidding me?" He goes, "You'll be okay." I go, "Are you kidding me?" So here I am playing this legendary guy, Vic Cabot.
Oh, was that
Um,
'06?
'06, yeah. All right. And he was very good with me as a young coach. He called me up. He made me feel, like keep doing what you're doing. You're gonna be okay, this. So now we play you guys. Second game, we just won 42-21. Our first game we played beat Donovan Monsignor Donovan. We're playing you guys, which I believe was probably the best one. I think it was the best team I ever saw in the short conference when you had those dudes, right? Mealy, all those. He puts his arm around me and he goes, "All right, listen." He goes, "I'm going to play my guys." he goes, "When I feel like it's a little bit out of hand, I'll pull the reins and I'll start playing my other guys. But my guys need reps." Like he said that to me, right? And I am going, "Oh, great." I mean, he was brutally honest with me and I respected it. Well, it was 63-0, right? And he did it with class because you guys were that much better than us, a team with no seniors. The other thing is he came into the All-Star meeting at the end. He goes, "Guys, I got to be home in 30 minutes. Anybody who can't start for me, just don't nominate him," right? So I'm here going like this. Like I didn't have anybody to nominate. But he's right. You guys were so dominant that year back in 2006. But you've had so many great teams. And of course, you had some great teams yourself as a coach here. How special is it to your community when you have a great product like that and it's backed up by your community?
Uh, no, we have a tremendous following in our community, and we're lucky that we kind of span, inlet to inlet. We call it, from Avon to Brielle. And those teams, you're talking about the '06 team, and we have a lot of good teams. But I think one of the things that helps with support in the community is our players are good people. They're good kids.
Mm-hmm.
They're I'm going to use a euphemism, but they're the kids who help the old lady across the street. They're the ones in their communities who are helping, and they're good role models. And that helps with bringing up your younger classes and your younger kids as well. They have good role models to follow. Guys like Matt O'Donnell and Jameer Howard
Yeah.
are the kinds of kids. I'd be fine with my daughter marrying. It's they're good people, and I think that helps when you're talking about really reaching out to the community and gaining that kind of support, and that helps keep the things we like to call tradition alive.
When you're better players or you're better character type of guys, it just makes things a lot easier.
100%. Team led teams or player led teams are always better teams.
Awesome, coach. All right, we got a lot to talk about. You ready to talk about some Manasquan football today?
Sure.
All right, coach, I'm going to rip this thing off. I don't want to wear it again. No more COVID. Let's talk about just getting back to normal. Getting back to normal. The poor, I mean, it affected everybody, the COVID. Let's talk about the poor seniors who have not worked out in a normal off season for 2 years. The last time was after their freshman football season. They were able to work out. So they never saw upperclassmen leading them the way in the off season. And you have a program, tradition, and all that. You had to reinvent yourself again to those guys and say, this is what we do. Tell us what a normal off season is under your program.
Well, I mean, starting, ideally in a football program, you want to, maybe give them a little bit of time off, a week or two after the season ends, and then have them all jump back into the weight room. As a smaller school, we encourage kids to play multiple sports. We also tell them that lifting and conditioning makes them better athletes across the board in whatever they're playing. Sometimes in our school, we have coaches in the building who push back against that. But thankfully, others are kind of jumping on board. We have a strength and conditioning coach that we got after 23 years at Rutgers, working for us now, who's done a tremendous job at not only changing our program, but also helping spearhead our new facility where he's going to have a phenomenal weight room. But right now, he was telling me we have over 60 kids in the weight room during sessions every morning, which is awesome. What you're talking about in an ideal program, once these guys were done playing their winter and spring sports, we'd like to see them back in the weight room, back out on the field again. And you're right, COVID didn't allow us to do that. But one of the things, whether it's conscious or unconsciously, I'm seeing from my kids is, whereas sometimes you used to have to, dangle a carrot out there or kick them in the butt to get them into the weight room. They love being around each other. And maybe that's a product of being let out of your basement or off the computer, but it's kind of a rejuvenating thing. The energy we've seen this year has been tremendously positive. And I got to believe a lot of that has to be, like you said, getting back to normal.
That's nice to hear. You're right. That's a really good point that, maybe it knocked out some laziness.
Yeah,
they had all those years to be lazy. Now it's let's do and do something that we just kept talking about for the last 2 years. Awesome.
The last highlight video we had, you were talking about banquets before, was our last class. We graduated 23 seniors, and they ask them the same questions every year. But one of the questions they get asked is, what are you going to miss when you leave? And everybody, to a man, all 23 of those kids, they weren't talking about, Thanksgiving games or parades. They were talking about being in the locker room with their brothers. They used words like brothers, family, and that really hit us because they got it. I think they finally understood, what this opportunity means. It's not always about scholarships or whatever. They finally realized that, these opportunities you have to be with people could easily be taken away for quite some time. You got to celebrate them.
Yeah. It was a major change for everybody in the whole country. It really was, not just your program, but it's always interesting to hear, your side of the ball, and most importantly, the players. So they came out full force and made you realize that, the little things in life, maybe
not so little.
No, not at all. Coach, let's hear some of your outstanding football coaches you got in your staff for the 2022 season.
Yeah, I mean, head coach is only as good as the staff. We have a pretty good one, and we're lucky because a lot of these guys have been around for quite some time. Pete Cahill has been in the program since 1985. He'll helping out with the defense, coaching defensive backs. Brian Lee has been coaching here since 2007. He played under Coach Cahill and has been here forever. We brought on the new guy last year, the professor Justin Sella, who came over to us from his alma mater, Neptune. Daryl Falkenberg has been here with us for 12 years now. He's coaching the running backs. I'm one of the few who's lucky enough to get a chance to say they work with their dad. My father's been coaching on and off here since '98. He's helping Pete out with the defensive backs, doing our kickoff team. Billy Burchett has been here since 2008. He also played here. He coaches our offensive line. Ed Capalco has been here 10 years. He's also played here. He coaches our defensive line, along with Matt Voskian, who will be coming back a little bit this year. And then our freshman coaches are Rich Griffith and John Morris, both of whom also played here.
Coach, I love when the head coaches talk about their staff. Their voice elevates. They smile. I try and read the body language, and you're very proud when you say you have those guys that are veterans. Very, very proud, and that says a lot about you and those coaches that they stuck together through the years. You said 12 years since 1985, 2007. Those type of buzzwords I kept hearing. Is it important to you to keep a staff together like that?
I think it is. I think it is important to have some kind of continuity, especially when you're teaching what we're teaching today. I've heard all kinds of things that you have to have turnover and things get stale. But again, I'll go all the way back to Coach Kaboo, and he would tell you it goes back to his coach at Manasquan, Coach Hal Manson, is that we spend too much time together to consider it just a game. It's you got to at some level love and trust each other, and we've been lucky to have coaches on staff that we can trust. And we do get along with each other, and that's that goes a long way into making everything else easy. I can finish Pete Cahill's sentences when we talk to each other on Saturdays.
That's awesome.
That stuff's important.
Yeah, Pete's a good guy. Long history with him too. It's interesting. You have a bunch of guys that's been there, done it, and then you added a new guy to your staff, an outsider. He's not a Manasquan guy. Kind of did quite well with, of course, Brett Patton as an all-shore guy, and Jameer Howard excelled being a multi type of running back. Tell me just a little bit about Justin. How was it of a change having a guy like that with different ideas come in for your staff?
Yeah, you know what? He replaced another great coach of ours, Lou Serto, who had been here forever. I think he was here since '98, but who had taken another job in the district, and time became an issue in terms of getting to practice and stuff. But when Justin came in, he had a lot of Lou's qualities. If you watch Justin coach for a day, you understand he's a great teacher. He's great at developing relationships with kids. And what he also brings to the table, what we do defensively, we really got from Virginia back in the '90s under George Welsh and Rick Lance, who was one of the early architects of that kind of 4-3 back in Miami. Justin brings in an offense, from UCLA that he's very proud of and knows very well, and a lot of what you see, how he designs practice, falls right in line with how we practice, and it's upbeat, it's pace oriented, it's a lot about teaching, it's a lot about reps, and the kids, the kids buy in. You can't really fake it with kids, and kids knew early that. Again, Justin, you watch him with his son. He's a great dad. He's a great teacher, and the kids pick up on that early, and we were able to just roll right through. We obviously miss Lou, but Justin's done a pretty good job at stepping in.
No, you did a great job of keeping everything intact, adding a little wrinkle here or there, and still making it work. And you did a great job with that, Coach.
Well, it's all those guys on staff, right? We can plan as much as we want on Sundays and Mondays, but it's got to be taught and implemented. And we have people across the board who are good teachers.
All right, Coach, to the left is your 2022 Manasquan football schedule. On the right, the Independence Division that's going going to be going out this year. Give me give me a little bit of what you think about your schedule to the left.
You know what? It's funny, and I'm sure you've heard it from a lot of other coaches. This is one of the great mysteries of life now is how we work out this stuff and get into the divisions we
Mm-hmm.
are. But in looking at this schedule, it's going to present some challenges for us, and we're going to have to be ready week in and week out to compete with people who really have it going on, and some others who've come on strong. Um, but there's no gimmies in this year's schedule.
No, I do like it, but you guys are used to tough schedules, Coach. I want to talk briefly about the Independence Division, and I mean, we'll talk about the Point Borough game in a second, but you got Raritan, a state finalist. Of course, yourself, you were in the state semis, right?
Mhm.
You have Monmouth that comes in with a championship from the division, two divisions down below, that they're coming in now feeling pretty good about themselves. Homedale has been playing bigger schools and hanging tough with them and playing tough football. And St. John Vianney, they got athletes and they're playing tough teams all the time too. And then you got Point Borough. And Point Borough game with you is you beat them last year. You beat them last year. As the season went on, they went South Jersey Group Two state champs. Have a lot of guys back. You guys are playing them. And is it game one for you? It's game one.
Yeah, we open against them.
I mean, and that used to been a. Did you guys play them in Thanksgiving?
For since 1970.
Yeah. I mean, talk about that game and also the build up with them with their accolades and you guys being Manasquan, and how big is it for the community for for that game?
Oh, I mean, anybody who's ever been to that game knows it still has a Thanksgiving style feel.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since Coach Sainer and Coach Hawkins were going up against each other in the '70s, it had that. It was like our version of the Red River shootout.
Mm-hmm.
It was perfectly geographically, socially, politically, economically. It was two towns very similar that played a similar style of football and enjoyed and loved the game and couldn't wait to play each other. We're playing that. I think it's like the sixth or seventh time in a row we've played them at their place. I wish the founding fathers of the Shore Conference would realize we could come across the river.
Right.
But I saw Coach Staub this summer. He's excited. They have a ton of people back and great players. The Skinner kid's a tremendous talent.
Yeah.
Croce, the running back's a 1,400-yard rusher. Oliphant does everything for them. And they have it. They have it going on. It's their coaching staff's phenomenal. And opening up with a game like this, I know it's kind of backwards. The big games at the beginning, but I guess it's like NASCAR. They race Daytona first, and everything else from there is what it is. But yeah, I mean, we're looking forward to it. It's a great way to start the season.
Yeah, that's a great game, and I mean that's probably circled on every media guy out there as the game of the week. You can't get any better than that. So,
No.
yeah, both programs were high expectations, rightfully so. I didn't realize you played them 7 straight times at Point Borough.
I want to say it's 6 or 7 straight. Yeah. But
Oh,
it is what it is.
yeah.
What's the old saying? We'll play them in a parking lot if they schedule it.
Well, that would be closer to home if you played in a parking lot.
Well,
But
that's true. Well, we do have new grass this last couple of years, so it's not that bad.
great. Wow, I did not realize that. But you know what? When they do make these schedules, I don't think the ads kind of look at it. They just kind of say, I don't. Wow, I've heard that
I say it,
complaint.
yeah, it really doesn't bother me. It's fine.
Wow.
But it is.
Yeah,
Curious.
well, truthful, 7 straight times. But I'm talking if it's a rivalry, they should kind of give you guys the same thing. But who knows? Maybe next year. Who knows? But maybe the ads will keep it consistent. Say, hey, let's keep it going. Let's keep going the 8th, 9th, 10th year. So good schedule, Coach. Again, when I talk to the other guys about you guys, they're saying the same thing. Tough program, this and that. So I always say a lot of programs don't realize how good they are because they don't look in the mirror. you guys are one of those teams that, I always looked to see if are we playing Manasquan this year? God darn it, are you kidding me? So you're one of those elite programs that elevates everybody else's programs.
Well, there's, I mean, our schedule is, at least in our opinion, is filled with people like that. If you look at what Coach Petruzzi has going on at Raritan, that they're always tough to play. The Falzon kid is a tremendous athlete. He's got a big
Tremendous.
lineman, I think, Jalen Newski, I think is his name.
Yep.
Um,
Tommy.
and they're as tough as anybody else on our schedule. Then St. John moves into the picture. They got a good quarterback and receiver combination coming back.
Mm-hmm.
You said Coach Branis at Homedale does a tremendous job and has Homedale really performing at a level they haven't been at in a while.
No.
I saw part of your interview with Coach Wendell at Monmouth, and like you said, they had a great year last year coming up. So, our division's pretty tough. And our, like I said, our schedule, when you include Manchester, who under their new coach Farrell and Shore, obviously is returning great size, and then you factor in Coach Guerreri's Wall. Our schedule is tough, but that's kind of how you want it, right? You want to be playing meaningful games all year long and try and prepare you for what comes next.
Well, I also do like games that I know I'm going to win. And in the short conference, there's a lot of teams that do their homework too. And there's not a lot of, cupcakes on anybody's schedule at all in the
No,
short conference. No.
no.
All right, Coach, if you can, I want to hear what you guys are going to run offensively, defensive schemes for the 2022 season.
Yeah, offensively, we'll be a multiple look. We'll be spread sometimes. Sometimes we'll be two back, depending upon what we're seeing from the defense. And trying to take advantage of what they'll give us. Defensively, we will be in a 4-3. And vary coverages depending upon what we're trying to take away.
Yeah. Now, offensively with RPOs, does that stand for run power often?
I'll tell you what, not as much as it used to. But I've never heard that.
You never heard that? Lou Versillo would say that. We RPO for years. We run power often. Yeah.
I like that, though.
Yeah. More of the old school coaches kind of say that stuff. But
absolutely.
Yeah, but with
the cloud of dust.
It's funny because with RPOs, like, you don't know where the ball's going. You don't know where the ball's going, but the linemen are still blocking their run game. It's just the eyes of the quarterback are somewhere else, and everybody thinks they're getting the football, which is good. And you guys did definitely adapt to that, very well, very, very well. But watching your offense, you still are up front. You're physical up front, even though the ball might be going somewhere else. Those linemen think that the ball is going to a certain place, and the ball goes somewhere else. They really did adapt to it. I thought it was a good blend with skill kids and your linemen, and it did. You were very productive offensively with that.
Yeah, that's the whole key, right? To selling the RPO is putting the defense in conflict and selling the run as hard as you possibly can. While sometimes you're getting penalties with men downfield, is what makes that thing go.
And defensively, traditionally, you always knew how you were like robots. You aligned here, or you bumped your DN here. You were. You can never get a Manasquan defender out of position. That was almost like a cardinal sin if you were misaligned, right?
Yeah,
never.
Everybody's got a gap, right? Building that fence.
Good, yeah. Coach. This part I really love because I wanted to put something together where it was talking about position groups, and I love having groups of people in a unit and figure out who's the strength for every program, offensively, defensively, special teams. So I want to tell you what I thought after doing a lot of research on you guys in the off season, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but offensively, I thought that your backfield, your quarterback and running backs were your strength. And why? You got Brett Patton, first team all short kid, Jameer Howard, one of the top running backs around that could do it all, especially in the RPO offense. You do a lot of stuff with them. Would you agree that maybe your backfield might be your strength for this year?
Yeah, they better be, right? They've both been playing since they were freshmen. They both came up as young kids in the second half of their freshman year during that COVID season. And they both took some lumps and played pretty well. But they both grown up a lot. They've both matured and have grown literally and figuratively. I think Ja's probably grown almost 4 inches since he was a freshman. But both, anybody who's played them knows they're tremendous athletes. They love the football in their hands, and they just love to compete.
I think defensively, again, you're good up front. We know that. I just thought maybe your DBs, maybe you were a little deeper in the defensive backfield this year. Would you think that would be your strength?
Yeah, I would agree. With the 4-3, you hope you have two good defensive ends that you can structure the rest of the scheme, and hopefully O'Donnell's coming back. We have to find somebody to replace Jack Burns, but we have some people we're thinking can step up in those spots. But once you get back to the secondary, Detlinger will be anchoring things back there. Who's played off and on in the secondary for us and has given us stellar minutes there,
Yeah.
will be a starter there. And then we're going to plug in, excuse me, a couple of holes at strong safety in the other corner, but we have people who are going to step into those spots, I think, and we'll be deep in that unit.
Now, your special teams, you just mentioned that young man, Jack Detlinger. I think that you have one of the top, not just your strength, but one of the top kicking games in the short conference with Jack Detlinger, who's an athlete. He can play receiver, DB. He kicks. Um, I don't think you're going to disagree with your kicking game. Might be your strength.
No, Jack's a tremendous athlete. He comes from a family of athletes, both on his mom and dad's side. And I kind of thought flew under the radar a little bit last year as far as getting noticed goes. But he was one of the most reliable kickers we've had in years, and really his punting is tremendous. He's going to be able to turn the field. He's going to be able to score points. And when you have somebody who can do that, it just makes everything so much easier. How great is it if you can make the offense start at the 20 on every series,
No.
or even better yet, what Coach Caboose used to say the greatest offensive play was a punt.
Yeah, I knew
He's going to be able to get a couple off. So we're looking forward to seeing what he can do.
Nothing better when on kickoffs that you can kick a ball into the end zone
Oh,
or a 40
joy.
yard punt. But yeah, that's right. But he is one of the better athletes in the short conference, not just kicker. Like he can go in many different positions when we do our position rankings.
He's got a
But
great set of hands. He can jump out of the building, and he's tremendously smart. Straight A student, very coachable kid, tough kid. He's everything you want in an athlete.
I don't want to give out any secrets, but I'm thinking out loud now. If you got one of your better athletes and he's a punter or a kicker, he's a threat, not only kicking it, but doing other things. But that's just me thinking out loud
I
as a
can
coach.
see your laboratory is working hard.
I don't think you have to be very smart to think of that, too, but good. Coach, let's hear about all those great athletes you got coming back that you're excited about, your returners, your newcomers for your football team for this season. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, our returners might be fewer than most of the teams we're going to play, but they all have a tremendous amount of experience. We've talked about Patton and Howard, even O'Donnell coming back. We were just talking about Detlinger coming back. That serves as the core of most of our senior class. But then there's guys like Cale Driscoll, who had a tremendous year for us last year, had a tremendous track season this year. He's tall, he can run fast, and he's tough as nails. He comes from a Texas football family, and plays like it, even though he's in Jersey. And then we have Dalil Saluki and Marcus Vallis, who are tremendous athletes, also had tremendous track seasons last year, who were looking to get into the mix in the secondary and the receiving core because they can extend the defense and have great hands. We have Torrey Falkenberg, who's been hurt the last 2 years, but we're hoping that, he can stay healthy and have a great season because he's just a great football savant. He knows the game. He's a tough kid. He loves playing it. And we're hoping he's going to be able to come back and have a good year. And then we're trying to mix in, our juniors who've had a good year. We have the returning starters in Gilmore and Mamiri, who are both tough as nails and love and play hard. Mamiri's got a great motor. He plays a lot bigger than he is, and he is as tough as they come. But then we have guys like Jack Mead, Brian Lee, who will all compete for time. Will Burns, Terrence Marks, Matt Koenig, who comes from another great Manasquan family, is going to be competing for time. Another kid, Jackson Herman, who had a tremendous year in the offseason, has come out, has completely changed his body. We have a transfer in from St. John Vianney. His name is Julian Walthall, who's very athletic and is going to figure in on playing as soon as we can get him out on the field. And we have others in that class who are going to be competing for time. And then we have a sophomore class who's coming up that's pretty good. They're not the most experienced class in the world, but they worked really hard in the off season. Tommy Martucci is going to be somebody people are going to be talking about before the year's over, along with Adam Murphy and Henry Terlizzi, who's coming out for us. He's a 6'4", 260, 70 pounder. And then there's other athletes in that class like Jackson Battaglia and Caden Eastman who are also going to give us valuable minutes across the board. We always tell kids, with special teams included, there's 88 positions on the field. You can vie to be in any one of those, and special teams is going to play as much as offense or defense.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of new names that are going to be out there, but they're going to be guided by some pretty good veterans who've played 2 or more years, in some cases 4 years, leading the way.
When you guys talk, I like to write notes, and I like to I'm in class, and I'm like writing all this good stuff down. I'm like, oh, I didn't know about this kid. Oh, I did know about this kid. But it's interesting. You're going to have a new crop of stars coming up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You just do. When you graduate people, new guys come in their place. They elevate their role, and then those,
That's the best part about starting a new year. It's like
right.
Christmas. You get to see what new toys you have, right, when the season starts.
That's my question to you. Now that you had a full off season, have you seen a lot of people get better? Like as soon as you walked on the grass for a workout or practice, go, oh, he's got a little hop to him. He looks a little thicker, or he's got stronger hands as a receiver. Have you seen that?
Absolutely. And the other thing I've noticed, it comes, the hardest workers in the weight room are always the ones you see take the field in those early sessions with this newfound confidence that they didn't have before. And they start to forget about, all right, okay, I know I'm going to make mistakes, but,
Mm-hmm.
I'm competing for this spot.
Yeah.
And it changes things. But, yeah, we've seen that quite a bit.
That's awesome. It's great as a coach when you see guys kind of, wow, I really can be the dude.
Right. Hey, this works.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you're right. I do believe the weight room does it for you. I mean, also competing in other sports does it too, Coach. Coach, I want to thank you for coming on the show, spending some time in between your busy summer schedule. We will keep you updated with all the stuff that's going on with Accucare, and our new hire is coming out in
Can't wait.
In an hour and 15 minutes. It's crazy. It's gonna blow up the short conference. It's gonna be great, Coach. It really is
good stuff.
I woke up today. I had Manasquan talk, and then my Instagram live with the mystery guy. You can't get any better. Those 2 guys, right?
Well, you got me out of a lot of housework today, so I thank you.
Are you gonna pretend you're still talking to me for the next 2-3 hours?
Oh, I'm still doing the housework right now, as far as the boss knows.
Yeah, my wife doesn't mind me doing my talk shows, but she minds me listening to them when I go upstairs, like if I'm in a bathroom or in the car. She goes, "You're listening to yourself. Like there's something wrong with that." No, I just like listening to my shows, but that's that. Coach, thanks again. This will be up tonight, and for you and your program to have and be very proud of, because you have a lot to be proud of.
No, thank you, and thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah. All right. I'll talk to you later, Coach.
All
right. Now we got 2 senior players from Manasquan. Up top, we have Matt O'Donnell, the outstanding tight end, defensive end, senior. And down below, we have the outstanding running back, cornerback, and return specialist, Jameer Howard. Both of you guys, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. 2 great football players on the field, and even better off the field is what I hear from your coaching staff. Is that true? Are you guys winners off the field too? Is that important?
Yeah, of course.
Darn right. You know, at Manasquan, you do a lot of winning on and off the field, and it's not going to change this year with you guys and a bunch of talented athletes that we're going to talk about with Coach Price today too. So let's get right into the questions. 5 questions will take us 10 minutes, maybe 11, 12 if you kind of string it out a little bit longer, but I think it'll be around 10 minutes. I want to know more about the Manasquan football team in the locker room and on the sidelines with you guys, and you're going to give me some tips. You ready? Number 1, who's the funniest dude in your football program? What player makes you all laugh when there are times where you need to kind of smile and crack jokes? Who is that football player in your program that keeps it real?
They kind of graduated.
What, so you have no comedians?
Not really. I
Okay.
don't know. I don't think.
Matt,
I would say Noah Mamiri. He's pretty funny. He's a pretty funny guy. Or James Gilmore. We got a funny.
James Gilmore's pretty funny.
Yeah, we got some funny linemen on our team.
so your linemen are the one that keep it real, keep it loose.
Yeah.
Okay, but the skill guys are all serious, right?
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Number 2, what player in your program, when Coach Price has a message to send out to you guys, that you guys take it and send it to all of them? You guys inform them of when practices, don't be late, get your physicals, make sure you're doing this. There's always one player or maybe 2 players that kind of play that leader role in social media. Who's that guy that keeps everybody abreast of everything?
Probably us two, to be honest. I mean, I feel like everything that he delays goes through us, everything communication wise.
So there's a lot of guys on the team that sit and wait for you to remind them that they have practice in 25 minutes too, right?
Yeah, basically.
Do you have to remind guys, hey, it's 10 minutes, we're on the field, and where are you?
Yeah, sometimes, but not really.
Not a lot. Yeah.
Well, that's a load off Coach Price's, back when you guys have guys like you that kind of echo out the same word for the head coach. It really is good. Number 3, back to normal, guys. The last time you guys had a normal off season was after your freshman football season. You were able to see everybody, high five people. But the last 2 years, we had too many restrictions. And without getting too involved in talking about the COVID stuff, just tell me how sweet it was to be back to normal with your routines in your way in the off season.
It was definitely everybody just basically hopped back into their normal habitat, I guess. It was just the lifts were back to normal. Everybody was back to doing everything regular. I don't think after last season, I think people were ready to just move past COVID because it was just too many like you said, restrictions, masks, and limited fans and everything, and now everybody can come to the games, and it's crazy.
Right, Matt, you want to add to that?
Yeah, it's almost like everything I dreamed of as a kid because I haven't had one regular varsity football season, and now this year's it's everything I dreamed it would be. It's no masks, just everybody's together in the weight room and at practice and stuff, and it's awesome.
Now you 2 are on a camp tour. The last 2 years, talking to college coaches, it's been different with recruiting. It really has. But now this year was the most normal in a long time. So you guys got to enjoy what other people didn't, because some schools didn't have camps or showcases, all that whole 9 yards. Tell me briefly about that. Were there any type of precaution things when you went to the camp, or it was kind of, this is normal? We're just
no, it was definitely normal. I mean, everything was normal. It's just you could definitely see a lot of kids that want it. There's a lot of kids that come out. There's I've been in a couple camps. There's over 700 kids. The UConn camp me and Matt went to, it's a very large amount. You could see everybody wants to just get back out camping and enjoying the off season in the process, basically.
Matt, you went to a couple. How was your? Was it normal?
Yeah, it was almost it definitely made me think COVID is I'd say over because there's just so many people out there and there's no restrictions really, and it just made me pretty happy again to see that everybody was back out and playing football again.
Great. Jameer, I saw your 40-yard dash time when I put it on my spotlight. I'm going to tell everybody this. I don't know if they know it. You're a lot faster than me. Yeah, Matt. I enjoyed watching both your films in the cans, Matt. You did a great job with the pass routes and all that. So it was nice to showcase your skills in front of college guys that are showing interest in you. Right? Did they make you feel good, letting you know, like, hey, maybe they do like me here?
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Well, talking to college coaches, you're on the tips of those guys' mouths, and rightfully so. And hopefully, when they see this video too, they'll see a little bit more personality. Hopefully, that will stamp the agreement with them. Right? They hear you
I hope
talking on
so.
here.
Yeah,
Right? Cool.
definitely.
Number 4. What are the expectations at Manasquan? I've been coaching against Vic Caboo through the years. I coached, of course, against Coach Price. From the outside in, I always wanted to hear, what are your expectations this year, though? Is it the same, or do you have a little wrinkle to it at Manasquan?
It's technically it's the same thing. We're all about pride and tradition and family, basically. So family, like we're all in it together. Tradition wise, everything's been the same since Kaboo, basically. And then
Yeah.
take pride in what you do and do everything 100%. Make sure you're on time. Make sure you're ready to go, locked in every game. Make sure every play should be like your last play.
Mm-hmm.
Um, go into every game with a winning mindset. Every weightlifting session should go in with a winning mindset. And I just feel like there's just a little more expectation from the younger guys because, like everyone knows, we graduated a large senior class last year, so it's a lot of weight on the younger guys.
Yeah, but I'm going to say one thing. It's not who you lost, it's who you have. That's what, as coaches, you don't want to be like, oh my God, we lost 6 seniors. You also have
Yeah.
6 juniors maybe back, or 5. So
That's true.
you got to always think the glass is half full, right? And I know Manasquan teaches that too. Matt, good job though, Jameer. Matt, tell me something about expectations at Manasquan that you're feeling right now you have as a senior, because you've never been a senior before.
Nope. Yeah. Basically, I feel the same way on basically how Ja was saying. Like those traditional values are still going to be there. Everybody just needs to come to practice ready to go, ready to learn. Since we got a young group of kids this year, and I'm just really excited to get rolling this year because it's going to be exciting. We're going to have a tough, gritty group like usual.
I'm going to end it right now with this question. Again, I'm from the outside looking in. Why is it so special to play at Manasquan under Coach Price? Tell me, why is it so special to be playing Manasquan football for you guys? Go ahead. You go, Matt, first.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right, yeah. Playing under Coach Price, it's anything like any player would want to ask for. Like you just got a coach that you can depend on. He's very smart. He can out coach a lot of coaches, and he just really makes practice fun for everybody, and he makes it like amazing time to be part of the Manasquan football team.
Nice, Jameer.
Yeah, he's definitely like one of those like football dads, I guess you could say. Like he's like he's all about having fun, but he's also about like getting what's done that needs to be done. So like I feel he's definitely a smart guy. He's like a guru if you ask me. He's just like a balanced coach, I would say. And
Great.
like he's a great guy overall. And yeah, playing under Coach Price for my 4 years was definitely like a dream come true if you ask me.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say something about why is it special at Manasquan. First of all, if I didn't play Manasquan, my record would be a lot better. Okay, be a lot better. But as a coach, there's something about playing on Saturdays at Manasquan. The smell of the popcorn. I told Coach Price last year on this show that there's something in that popcorn that draws a lot of attention to it. Maybe is that the reason why you guys win, or is it more the players on the field? I don't know. But your band with the chant, the crowd shuts down, the band plays, goes into the stadium. Tell me that doesn't give you goosebumps.
Yeah, it does. And then when you walk out to the chop, and then you have like all the little kids wanting high fives, and you got the cheerleaders right there lined up, and then the banner, and you're just ready to go.
And the old school guys wearing their jackets from the 40s, and it doesn't fit them. They can't button it. Right? but you give them all that respect. That's great. Your community takes care of each other. But I'm going to tell you what, there is something about that popcorn. It's damn delicious. I'm telling you right now. So when I went there last year, I bought like 3, 4 of them. She goes, "What do you think, Shore Football Report?" I go, "This is the #1 popcorn in the Shore Conference, no doubt." Guys, I want to thank you for coming on the show, giving me 5 questions about your program. You guys, without a doubt, are outstanding football players and even better people off the field. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing the right thing. The word's out about you guys. You're going to be going somewhere in college. You never know where it's going to be, but it's going to be somewhere. Someone's going to be happy having you too. All right?
Thank
You guys be good and
you.
make sure you PR this because this will be out tonight.
All right.
All right? Be good, guys. Thanks.